Hello, welcome back. It's been quite some time between videos once again because for whatever reason I filmed a whole part 2 of Don't Believe Everything You Think, and it took 4 days to upload, or was attempting to upload 4 days, and then today it said error uploading video, and I tried a few times and I was just like, okay, forget it. I just gonna record another one. And I guess this time I'm just gonna try to make it shorter. I guess I'm got a clock right here. I'm tracking the time. Make sure I get under good time. I have notes like I did before, but last time I think the video was almost 40 minutes, and I was just kind of I like giving a lot of examples and just giving all my epiphanies and lessons that I was reflecting on as I was reading. So I did a lot of that, so I'm gonna cut a lot of it out but still give it a little bit. I'm gonna just dive down a little bit. But where I left off on part 1 was how peace, joy, and love equals flow, and anxiety, stress, and sadness is a standstill. And what the author was saying is that peace, love, and joy is our natural state, right? And the example that I thought of as I was reading the book was how, let's say nothing is going on, right? Let's say everything is perfect, like you good, you got a roof over your head, all your bills is paid, everything's going good at the job, everything's going good. Let's say if you got kids, the kids is good, they doing good in school, everything is fine. When you wake up and when you move through the day, what's something that you may think, or that you may even express throughout the day? You might express like, man, I feel good today. Like, today's a good day. Like, everything is perfect. Like, I feel, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like, because that's, the author was saying, Joseph, that this is your natural state. Now, when things start going wrong and you start thinking, like, let's say if everything is just going haywire, light bill due, rent late, your job is tripping, kids is out of control and probably doing bad in school, then you get to getting anxious and being stressed out and becoming depressed because it's just so many things. You feel like so many things coming at you at different angles. So one of the things he encourages is to keep your mind in the state of flow. Keep your mind in the state of everything's gonna be all right and everything is good, right? It's kind of similar in the same concept that they say for manifestation, right? Because when you manifest things, you already, like, you have to put yourself in that state already. So if you're trying to manifest, being financially stable and everything flowing, then be in that flow at all times. Be at peace in the midst of chaos. Be joyful in the midst of sadness, or something that seemingly should be sad. You know what I mean? Like, and then the environment will adapt to that energy, if that makes sense. And a lot of times while you're reading, he'll give you like different exercises, right? Like, think about this for a moment. Think about a time, because that's why I was reflecting so much too, because he tells you that in the book. Like, take 30 seconds to think about a time where, you did this and it worked out. Or think about a time where you effortlessly, something just came to you and you acted on it without even thinking, having a second thought or nothing, and how it just worked. And now think about a time where, you overthought something and it brought doubt and it brought sadness, or it brought depression, and and how that probably didn't get done. And I was like, you're right. And then also he gives different stories, right? So one of them was the story of this monk, and the monk was a beginner, right? So he would go into the place where they meditate, and he would get really frustrated because there would be a lot of distractions. Like, there would be cats flying by him, there'll be birds chirping, and people will be walking in the room, and he just found himself just being very angry and frustrated from being so interrupted, and he felt like he could not focus and do his meditations and do the things he was required to do as a monk or whatever. So he went to, you know, one of the elders and was just let him know, like, yo, like, I can't focus, I can't do this, I can't do that, like, everything is making me mad, you know, like, what do I need to do? So the elder advised him, like, you know, it's not the things around you, it's you. Like, stop focusing on being distracted. Stop focusing on all these things that's making you not focus on what you need to do. So, you know, he didn't really listen to that. He ended up getting on a boat, and he like rowed himself to the middle of the ocean, and he thinks like, okay, nothing happened in the middle of the ocean. Can't nobody bother me. There could be no distractions. There could be no nothing, right? So he goes in the middle of the ocean and he starts to meditate. As he's starting to meditate, there's a ship coming towards him, and he hears the ship coming, like the wave, you know, he's being distracted, the waves, whatever. So a ship is coming towards him, and it's not seeing him or whatever. So he's trying to flag the ship down, like, hey, like, what the, like, hey, can you see me? Like, I'm like, you're about to hit me. Eventually, the ship, like, it couldn't have been like a ship, like, because it would have took him out. But let's just say it was like a boat or something. It either hit his boat or, like, probably the ripples, you know, probably, like, had him go all over the place. So one of the things that the story that he told was that the monk realized, for one, as the ship got closer, that there was nobody in the captain's portal, or wherever you want to call that, in the captain's seat. Like, the ship was just free flowing. So that's when he realized, like, oh wow, like, for one, I'm in the middle of the ocean where I thought there would be no distractions, but there's still distractions. So for one, I can't control distractions. So the first lesson is you can only control yourself. So as the elder was saying, you worried about all these distractions, you need to be worried about what you're trying to do in the moment. And if that's meditate, then focus on that. Don't focus on these birds, and don't focus on, you know, the cat running past. Don't focus on the people coming in. And as far as this ship, that ship, you can't, you know what I mean? Once he realized nobody's on the ship, he was like, wow, like, that really was, I have nobody to blame. I can't say that captain ruined my meditation, like, because it was an empty boat. So when he eventually went back to the place where they do their meditations, he was able to control himself, become in full control, and follow through with his meditation, because all those other distractions didn't matter. If you are here to meditate, you're here to meditate. So if you want peace and you want joy and you want happiness, you focus on that. Don't focus on all the things that's going on around you. And even in with me waiting for my workers' comp to come through for this accident that I just got in with trucking 2 weeks ago, I'm focused on this content. I'm focused on ways that I can stay creative, and you know what I mean? Like, I could just stay in good spirits. I'm focusing on, like, I'm not worried about this Friday that just passed and I didn't get my normal check. My check was about $600 this past week. I didn't worry about none of that. You know what I did? I took my $250, put it in my savings account like I do every 2 weeks. I took another $50, put it in my Robinhood account. Like, I did all the things that I was supposed to do. Now, don't get me wrong. I looked at everything to make sure, like, okay, is there anything due right now? Is there anything that I need to, you know what I mean, that it just absolutely has to get paid? And guess what? No. I'm so proactive when it comes, if you watch any of my other videos, I'm so proactive about my finances and budgeting and where I want to be in the next 2 years. Like I always talk about my 2-year plan that I have, and that I also have a course on, that at this moment, while I'm waiting for this workers' comp to go through, I just didn't get no check, you know, I'm not working right now, somehow everything aligned where there was nothing even due. It's nothing even due. While my income has been cut drastically. So that goes to don't worry. And he also talks about how cliches, as simple as they are, they're true because the truth is simple. So you know how they say, don't worry about what you can't control? I didn't worry about money and, oh my God, like if I'm gonna go to work, I'm not gonna have, my check is not gonna be as much as it normally is. I didn't worry about none of that. And when I got that little check, guess what? There was nothing due. I put money into my savings account and my investment account. Isn't that crazy? I think one card was due. One of my credit cards was due, and it was like $57. That's it. The only bill that was due. I was like, Lord, I know you lying. So then the other parts, so I jotted down a few chapters because they were very, very good. Chapter 13, the intuitive versus the rational mind, page 73. Because I wanted to read this quote. He has quotes at the beginning of every chapter that are powerful. So chapter 13 is titled, How Do You Know What to Do Without Thinking? And the quote he has at the beginning is, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And that quote is by Albert Einstein. And what I got from that is that the intuitive mind and the rational mind works in conjunction with one another, right? The intuitive mind like gives you insight, right? Gives you insight, gives you detail, and gives you enlightenment, while the rational mind is what acts it out and what actually puts the thoughts and whatever into motion so you can do it. So how he would explain, sometimes things just come to you and you just do it without asking any question. That's the intuitive mind. That's where the intuitive mind meets the rational mind. So they kind of meet at a crossroads, if that makes sense. Right? Like for me, when I'm reading, I try to visualize what I'm reading so I can remember it, because there's no point. One of the reasons why I really didn't read that much growing up or as an adult is because I really didn't understand how to retain information. So one of the things I do is I take notes, because writing helps you remember things. You write it down. And then also I try to help myself understand like how I'm kind of doing this, where intuitive mind meets ration, like I'm making that make sense for me in my mind. So hopefully that helps. The other thing is, this is where he introduces non-thinking, and he says that you do what feels right. It goes with what I was just saying, how you do what feels right, and you don't know why. You just execute something and you didn't put too much thought into it. You didn't overthink it. You didn't do anything. The next one was chapter 14, how to follow your intuition. He calls intuition infinite intelligence, right? Like, so that's how you're able and you learn how to trust yourself. And at the beginning of that chapter, there's a quote by Steve Jobs: have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. So your intuition, if you don't know or you haven't really looked too much into it, your intuition is your higher self telling you how to move, telling you, like, you know what I mean? Like it's guiding you. It's your spirit guides, it's your higher power, it's whatever you want to call it. It's guiding you. So you have to, one, learn how to eliminate the noise around you so you're able to hear it and follow it. And then you have to learn how to trust yourself, because when it don't make sense, you have to still make that move in order to get the results. Look. I'm telling you, if you really think about either what I'm saying, or when you read these books, or if you read this book, please let me know in the comments. But read this book and he tells you, hey, take 30 seconds to think about what I just said and think about a time where you was in this situation and I'm telling you, you'll find yourself like, oh, that do make sense. That is what happened there. That's not what I identified it as at the time, or that's not what I knew what was happening at the moment, but that does make sense. You know what I mean? And you'll start to put those puzzle pieces together. And before you know it, you'll have a picture that makes sense. Chapter 15, creating space for miracles. Now, chapter 15, this is where he tells another story, and I actually want to share this story because it was really, really good. It's called The Story of the Zen Master and the Scholar. Once upon a time, there was a wise Zen master. People traveled from far away to seek his help. In return, he would teach them and show them the way to enlightenment. On this particular day, a scholar came to visit the master for advice. I have come to ask you to teach me about Zen, the scholar said. Soon it became obvious that the scholar was full of his own opinions and knowledge. He interrupted the master repeatedly with his own stories and failed to listen to what the master had to say. The master calmly suggested they have tea. So the master gently poured his guest a cup. The cup was filled, yet he kept pouring until the cup overflowed onto the table, onto the floor, and finally onto the scholar's robe. The scholar cried, "Stop! The cup is full already. Can't you see?" "Exactly," the Zen master replied with a smile. "You are like this cup, so full of ideas, nothing more will fit in. Come back with an empty cup." Now, I personally thought that was powerful because although the author or the title of the book is Don't Believe Everything You Think, right? Although that's the title and he tells us how he explains the importance of, not overthinking and staying in the constant flow and all that. This story of the Zen master and the scholar is adding on to that, because although, yes, follow your intuition and stay in flow and do this, do that, but also leave room to always be a student. Leave room to always learn. Leave room for people to pour into you, right? Because you're not going to get everything from your intuition. You're not going to get everything from that peace and that flow. Like, you still, a lot of people are walking around thinking that they know everything already, or thinking that they got all the answers already. And truth is, you don't. No one does. You can always get something from somebody or somewhere. And you want to keep your mind and your heart open to receive things, but use your intuition and rational mind to sort through it, to figure out, okay, is that gonna work for me or no? And it goes with the saying of chew the fish and spit out the bones. So take what you need, leave what you don't need. So you always want to be receptive and open and available to receive information, because as life continues to go on, you'll keep being challenged. And you have to keep rationalizing and intuitively navigating through life and the things that it's going to continuously throw at you. Chapter 16, this is where he ends the book before he goes into more information. Like, he goes into a summary and he goes into like blogs and different things like that. But chapter 16 ends with what happens when you begin living in non-thinking. When you stop letting your thoughts have you at a standstill, right? So he was saying that things become more familiar and certain because you start to trust yourself. You start to know, like, okay, you start to understand, like, okay, I don't understand this right now, or I don't know what's about to happen next, but I trust that I'm gonna be okay. I trust that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like, you want to remain optimistic. You want to be able to lean on your faith and have courage that you're gonna get through this. That this peace that you've embodied, this joy that you've embodied, and this happiness that you've embodied will carry you through whatever is going on. You know, and it's something you have to continuously practice, right? You have to, it's just like when you go to when you're working out, you're going to the gym and you're trying to lose weight, right? You may mess up and eat something you're not supposed to, or you might skip a day, but guess what? Today Monday, let's say I skip today. Tomorrow, start again. Start on Tuesday. Start on Wednesday. Like, you're not doomed because you missed a day or two, or, you know, start where you are. And keep exercising that muscle. Keep exercising that muscle until it gets stronger and stronger, until it gets so repetitive that it's almost like second nature. Like, when we were kids, we were told to wake up. What's the first thing we all do? Brush our teeth and wash our face. Now, it's automatic. You don't even have to think about it. You know, first thing you need to do is brush your teeth, wash your face. Because you've repeated that motion so many times over and over and over again. Now, it's like second nature. Same thing. And understanding that another cliche is everything happens for a reason. You want to continuously pay attention to the patterns of your life and what's going on around you. And if you're repeating cycles, or if you're learning from your mistakes and making better decisions when you get into similar situations so you could get better results, right? And I want to end it with reminding you, as he explained and I said in part 1, is that your mind is designed to protect you, right? It's you that have to choose light or darkness. It's you that have to choose freedom or suffering. That's you. You have that power. And you want to utilize it. I'm hoping that you choose light, freedom, love, happiness, abundance. Choose those. Don't choose the other things, because another cliche saying is, what you don't change, you choose. So choose the things that's going to bring what you want in life. And I guarantee you, that's what you'll start to see. Lastly, I wanted to introduce my next book that I'm gonna read for this month. And since this video is so late, I've already finished it. So the review will be coming very, very soon. And that is Identity Switch by Adriana Mason. And she talks about transitioning into womanhood. Very good book. Her mom, April Mason, is my femininity coach. I've met her and Adriana. This is Adriana's book that she wrote. And then the first Identity Switch, is the book that her mom wrote. And I read that one a few years ago when it first came out. And then I just read this one the other day, and it was so good. Like, I already took the notes, and I can't wait to talk about it, because my goodness, she went all the way there, and I appreciated it, because a lot of these things I can't relate to, like being a teen mom or being a wife or being divorced. But as I was saying about having an open mind and learning from everyone around you and knowing how to let people pour into you and take what you can, what's what you could use and leave what you can't. I learned from her being a teen mom and her being a wife and her being divorced, and she talked about where she went wrong in those matters. Like, she took accountability and it was like, this is my fault because this is where I was at and this is what I was going through and this is what I didn't work on and this is what I didn't work towards. And that was important because the whole point of this channel and the saying of You Grow Girl is for us to take control of our lives and to take accountability for our lives. So please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.